1st, 2025 Angels Camp City Council meeting. Michelle, roll call?
Yes. Scott Kehoe,
Here.
Councilmember Sherrado,
Present.
Mayor Shemente,
Present.
Isabel Moncada,
Absent.
okay, and Councilmember Brolio.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Report out of closed session. Direction was given to staff on items A, B, C, and D, and we will be returning to closed session after our regular meeting. Approval of the
Pledge of
agenda.
allegiance.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should be crossing this stuff off. I'm so excited about being here. Pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we ask for approval of the agenda, I just want to share with the public that is here. Do we have anyone online, Michelle?
We have 2 people online.
We will have a number of public hearings in our agenda. The way we do public hearings is I will introduce and read the agenda item. I will bring it for our staff report, and the staff will give us a report. Council will ask any questions, then we'll open it up for the public to have any comments that they may make regarding that item. Once we close the public hearing, it comes back to council for deliberation, and at that time, the council will take action and no longer can we accept public comment. So with that, is there a change to the agenda, Pam?
Very nice, ma'am.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Any discussion from the public? Anyone online?
No.
Good. Okay, so roll call.
Kehoe,
Aye.
Sherrado,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
Brolio.
Aye.
Okay, good. We're moving on to item 7, public comment. The public may address the council on any item of public interest, not otherwise on the agenda that is within the jurisdiction of the city. No action may be taken. Matters to be addressed may be referred to city staff or placed on a subsequent meeting agenda. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes per person. Is there anyone present or online who would like to speak to an item that is not on our agenda? Anyone online?
They're online, but nobody's ready.
Anyone present? Hearing none, we will close public comment and move on to the consent agenda. There are 4 items. A, approved draft minutes for regular meeting of City Council June 3rd. Or maybe only 2.
There's only 2, you got
Only 2. Only 2. And then approval of approved draft minutes for regular meeting of June 17th. Would any member of the council like to pull?
Yeah, let's pull A, please.
Item A. Would anybody from the public like to pull an item from the consent agenda? Hearing none, we'll consider item B, approved draft minutes for the regular meeting of June 17th, 2025. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Any other discussion from public or anyone online? Council, hearing none? Roll call?
Sorry.
Aye.
Kehoe, Sherrado,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
and Brolio.
Aye.
Moving back to item A, approved draft minutes for regular meeting of City Council June 3rd.
I asked that be pulled because I wasn't at the meeting. I'm concerned though that we won't be able to approve this with lack of a quorum.
We had 3?
We have 3.
Were you at the meeting now?
Oh no, I was not. Are you,
Well, this is-
wait, let me look
But
back. Which one was it?
June 3rd.
I know that in other committees that the legal there has said if you reviewed the minutes and you're okay with them, you
Right.
could approve them. So I don't know, Will, if you have anything to say about that.
Oh, no, I was at Tony's graduation,
Yeah.
so you are correct. That was the one I was absent.
So that's my question is, usually I abstain
Have you let
when
Will?
I'm not there, but
I don't
Yeah, well,
see
you have
them
to let him back
online.
in.
I did send him the link to this.
Oh, there you are,
Is he
Will.
here?
Yeah, we got
Okay.
you.
I'm on the phone.
Okay.
Okay. So, well, we have a question about being able to approve the minutes if you've reviewed them even though you weren't present. Can you vote on those minutes?
Yes. Hang on 1 second.
So we got a cog and a couple of.
Yeah, the COG, we can do that. And
He's on the phone, so.
This one?
No, he's
Oh, I
going
see.
to be
I
a
see.
phone.
You said, wait a minute, correct, Will?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. Your absence from a meeting does not preclude you from voting on the approval of the minutes.
Hearing none, I make a motion to
Is that
approve.
it?
Yes, it
Yes, it
does.
does. Thank you.
We have a motion and a
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Any other discussion from the public? Here or online? Hearing none. Roll call.
Beagle,
Aye.
Sharado,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
Brolio.
Aye.
Moving on to item 9A. Hold public hearing to consider the continuation of the assessment for fiscal year 2025-26 for the Landscaping and Lighting District Number 2 Greenhorn Creek Assessment. Adopt resolution number 2540, thereby approving the engineer's report, confirming a diagram and assessment, and order the continuation of assessments for fiscal year 25-26. Pam?
Mr. Mayor, I got one quick.
Yes.
Did we do 7 public comment?
Yes.
We did?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't check it off.
What's,
I didn't check it off.
what is this, like I'm an 8th grade teacher?
I missed it. My bad.
Down here are smarter than me. Yeah, yes, we did.
I have a quick comment. Because I chair the LLD committee, I will be recusing myself tonight from this
Yep.
item.
Pam, any comment?
We will,
With the consultant for SEI as opposed to
he's online.
Brendan, are you there?
Yes, hi everyone, I am here.
The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, well, thank you and good evening, everyone. So this is the final resolution of our levy administration process for fiscal year 25-26. Following the consideration and passing of this resolution, we would then submit the charges to the auditor of Calaveras County. This is the date and time of the public hearing, which is necessary under Prop 218 to conclude this process before we submit the charges to the auditor. I'd be happy to answer any questions, but this is relatively procedural. The rate for this year is $5.95, although the maximum authorized rate is a bit higher than that. The budgetary need called for the rate of $5.95, so that is the rate that was selected. And our assessments will be calculated based on that rate per SFE.
Any questions from council? Alvin?
No.
I will open the public hearing. Any questions from the public regarding this item? Anybody online?
No?
Okay, we'll bring it back. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve, what is it? The adoption of resolution number 2540.
Second? Any other discussion? Hearing none? Michelle?
Sharado,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
and Brolio.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, here we go. Item 9B, another public hearing. Reintroduce and waive the second reading by substitution of the title, hold a public hearing, and adopt ordinance 546, which we're going to amending code sections include notification, enforcement of, and penalties for weed abatement and fire codes under the same procedures and penalties as all other code violations under the City of Angels Municipal Code, AMC. Relocating multiple code sections related to fire prevention and fire safety, and create a new chapter, 8.50, Fire Safety Regulations, adding new definitions, house numbering requirements, fire hydrant requirements, fire hydrant. That was said again, I'm sure. Why is it twice, Amy? Okay, fire hydrant requirements, requirements for new construction within the wildland urban interface and very high fire hazard severity zone, including fire sprinklers and related fire safety regulations. Consolidating code sections related to open burning and controlled debris burning, amending chapter 8.48 fireworks to include a reference to existing requirements for an administrative conditional use permit for fireworks sales and stands. creating a new Title 11, Roads and Driveways, to consolidate and update the city's road and driveway regulations, reference the city's adopted design standards, add a definition and reference for legacy streets, also known as heritage roads, and incorporate road and driveway provisions previously found in other code sections. Amending street signage regulations in section 12.08.090 to cross-reference signage requirements in chapter 8.50, fire safety regulations for consistency. Repealing chapter 8.0, garbage collection rates as outdated. Staff.
Mr. Mayor, council members, this is the second reading of this ordinance, and we are asking that you would approve it at this meeting. It is primarily reorganizing, as well as bringing in state standards and other city standards into a single location so that a developer can more easily locate our fire standards and road standards. In approving this, we would ask that you also allow for some minor clerical changes. I noticed that Angels was misspelled in a couple places, and there was a cross-reference that needed to be cleaned up. But otherwise, I would be happy to answer any questions. Fire chief and our code enforcement person is here in case you have questions.
And Amy, you might want to, for those present and online, just give a little quick history of how this all came about with your grant and
So we basically do a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. Quite a mouthful to say it's a safety plan. And basically it identifies things that we need to do to make ourselves even safer. And one of those was to clarify our safety codes, including flood, fire, building codes, emergency response. This is one of the last steps in completing that process, which included a task force, I'll call it a task force, that sounds fancier, that met once a month for about 1.5 years and went over all of our health and safety codes to provide updates.
Thank you. Any other comments from council?
Nothing.
Hearing none, we'll open up the public hearing. Anybody from the public? Does anyone have a comment? Anyone online, Michelle? Oh, I'm not going to joke. We're just going to move on here. I was going to say the public comment or hearing should last longer than the reading of the agenda item. Hearing none, we'll close public hearing and bring it back for the council.
I just have one question. With all the fire safety thing involved here, I assume this was done with Chief Orbach's input, and want to confirm that you don't have any hesitation about this. This doesn't add an undue burden.
No, a lot of it was just reorganizing stuff and putting it in the right place and making sure our stuff matched the state code. So we worked on it it was about 1.5 years project where we were meeting all the time and having meetings. So yeah, I'm good with everything.
Okay, thank you.
And then Amy or Michael, the house numbering, is that going to be for new construction, or how do we see implementing?
Currently, it is for new construction. However, at some point, we would love to be able to find a grant or something, or a program such as they have in some other jurisdictions where you can go and get a house number that meets the standards and post it in front of your house. Because we have a few locations that could use some more easily identifiable house number.
And my last comment is a comment I always make, is that I appreciate the work that you have been doing and will do on the heritage roads to make those safer for all of us.
We'll get started on that, hopefully fairly soon.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Michelle?
Behill,
Aye.
Sharado,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
Brolio.
Aye.
Okay. Item 9C, hold a public hearing, introduce, waive the first reading by substitution of title, set July 15, 2025 for a public hearing, and second reading to consider ordinance 548, amending the setbacks in the industrial zoning district. Amy.
Mr. Mayor and council members, we have very few parcels zoned industrial. They're either way out Murphy's Grade Road or they're California Electric Steel. We were recently approached by one of them to ask to do an expansion, and they were not able to do so because of the way we had our 20-foot setbacks from the front property line. They are adjacent to a road that's fairly wide, And we realized that we could follow the example of several other jurisdictions actually, and measure from center line of the road instead. So we're proposing that in the industrial zoning district, we revert to measuring from the center line of the road as opposed to having, say, a 20-foot setback on our very limited number of industrial parcels to allow them maximum development. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any comments from council?
I have a question on the industrial. So it's really just the Murphy's-Grade Road is the one that's zoned industrial, or do we have others in town?
It's just California Electric Steel next to
Whittles down
City
there.
Hall, it's Whittles,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll open the public hearing. Anybody present have a comment regarding this item? Anyone online, Michelle? Hearing none, we'll bring it back. Is there a motion to approve? Oh,
This is a first.
but don't we have to?
I'll move we set the second public hearing
Right.
for July
That's what we have to
15th
do.
for ordinance 548.
Second. It's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Michelle?
Behill,
Aye.
Sharado,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
Brolio.
Aye.
Item D, hold public hearing and adopt resolution number 25-38, hereby approving the allocation of up to $250,000 in traffic impact mitigation fees towards acquiring Boundary Lane access off of State Route 4.
Mr. Mayor, council members, as you know, since 1989, we've been asking for access off of State Route 4 for Boundary Lane on the shopping center side of the highway. We've gone through a very long process with Caltrans called decertification. We finally got to the appraisal process, and the appraisal came in at $492,800, which the landowner making the first development is being asked to pay. He talked to us and basically said, hey, if you guys could split that with me, since this is opening up Boundary Lane for lots of development to come, sure appreciate it. And so we're bringing that to you tonight to ask for formal approval of up to $250,000 in traffic impact mitigation fees so that we can open up Boundary Lane. And our current balance in traffic impact mitigation fees is $1.6 million, and Boundary Lane is our #1 priority project in the regional transportation plan.
Amy, could you just explain for the public a little bit about the traffic impact mitigation fees, how they're collected and what they can be used for?
Traffic impact mitigation fees are used only for capital improvements, new roads. They're not used for maintenance. Basically, when a new residence comes in or a new commercial development, they pay traffic impact mitigation fees.
Any other comments from council?
No.
Scott, Carolyn, we'll open up public hearing. Anybody in the public present? Anyone online? Thank you. I'll bring it back to council for direction or motion.
So I guess for me, I'm liking this idea. It's a lot of money to spend, but I think it does give access to Boundary Lane. And since the time I've been on here, it's a conversation of trying to get this opened up and working with Caltrans. And so I think this is money spent, so I will make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Any other discussion from the public? Hearing none. Michelle?
Behill,
Aye.
Sharado,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
Brolio.
Item 9E, approve a 5-year professional service agreement for engineering services with Loomis and Associates with a term beginning date of July 2nd, 2025 and a term ending June 20th, 2030. Michelle?
So we brought to you a while back, we had a RFP for our engineering contract that was previously with Dewberry for 5 years, was going to expire on June 30th. And so we brought that RFP, we went through the process, made a selection for Lumos and Associates, and also to extend the Dewberry contract. It has up to a 2-year extension to allow for them to complete projects and assist with the transition. And so we've now had the contract, it was brought to Lumos, they signed it. We brought it to legal, they reviewed it, and now we are bringing it back to council to approve and authorize the city administrator to sign the contract with Limos and Associates. And it would be a 5-year contract. Each year, we would have task orders assigned authorizing funds based on the projects and the budget for engineering.
Any comments from council? Well, thank you for bringing this forward, and what we'd like to see continue is the movement of our CIP projects for water, wastewater. You know, there is money in that reserve, and, you know, we are currently working on projects. We finished Booster Way, we're doing Mark Twain. Tonight, we're gonna look at another project. So, I mean, it'd be good for us to continue making sure that those projects move forward in a timely manner, along with the other services that they're providing.
It includes also road projects that we will be bringing that in August with the capital.
Perfect.
Projects.
With the list of projects and what they're gonna have. Perfect. Any public comment? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second. There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Michelle?
Behill?
Aye.
Sharado?
Aye.
Shemente?
Aye.
And Crowley?
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 9F, discuss and consider the request from Angels Camp Museum for additional funding in an amount not to exceed $53,700 to cover for the retention of a part-time museum archivist, and approve resolution number 25-42, hereby approving the funding request, or thereby approving the funding request and the corresponding additional budget allocation for fiscal year 25-26. Pam.
Thank you, sir. The Angels Camp Museum's executive director had sought the city's assistance in adding $52,000 of additional funding. This will cover the retention of a part-time museum archivist. This request would cover salaries, payroll taxes, additional work hours, and a small business bonus, which had been outlined on the staff report and published. So the fiscal year 24-25, this current employee has accomplished the following aside from the day-to-day tasks: is the cataloging and inventory of more than 4,100 objects in the carriage house, completing all the inventory and cataloging at the main floor, cataloging approximately 75% of the objects on the carriage house's archives room, and cataloging 368 objects currently in storage, and training one volunteer. They made major headway to the efforts that the museum is trying to do. So for fiscal year 25-26, this part-time archivist plans to accomplish the following tasks: is to finish the inventory of the archives room, to work on the inventory of the pole barn, continue the recruitment and training of additional volunteers, and to continue the cataloging more than 15,000 remaining artifacts. The reason why that's staff is recommending for discussion and consideration from the council is the fact that the museum has pretty much been an icon here at the city, and it had brought in a lot of interest, not just on the regional level, but also, like I should say, internationally. That the museum has been known to be one of the places to go if you wanted to find out about what happened during the gold rush. And so for economic development purposes, for the purpose of tourism, we would like for your consideration and discussion on this matter.
And Michelle, the budget allocations, how do we anticipate?
So we do have reserve in our TOT tourism of around 32,000. And then we could cover the difference with ARPA, or, I would recommend using the reserve for the TOT because that is the purpose for tourism, so it fits, and then cover any offset from the ARPA money,
So-
which we have about 250.
Explain to the public what ARPA is and where those funds
So
came from.
during COVID, the city received close to $1 million in ARPA funds. They were set aside for tourism and water and wastewater. The city also used it to retain employees by giving an essential pay for being essential workers during COVID. Now the money has met the restriction and they freed it up so we can use it however we want. And so we've used a portion of it for the park. We've also used it to keep the frog bucks, which is part of our community development and economic growth. Continue those programs. And so now we still have a reserve that has not been earmarked, more than just extra money for the park. And so this is what I'm recommending that we could use to cover that difference that the TOT reserve does not.
Thank you. Any comments from council? Carolyn?
No, I know that there's been a lot of effort to get this under control, all these items, and I feel like it's good for many purposes, knowing what we have cataloged, what the value is. Yeah, for insurance purposes. Just also, like Martin had said, when a family donates valuable items and then they kind of go into the abyss, like you have no idea where they are, they've not been cataloged, and so years later you go in there to go see like a family archived item and they don't even know where it is. So, but I think it's just, it's good practice, and I think it's a good investment in the museum because it's going to, once it's all cataloged, then it's just maintaining as items come in and maintaining that catalog. So it's, yeah. So it's an investment. That's what it is.
I guess my question would be, and I'm fine with this. I think this will be fine. My only question is the museum going to help? Are we funding this position fully, or is the museum picking up any of it? I mean, it looks like we're funding it.
It looks like we're funding it fully.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
Yep. Some of the money that he's been paid through was money given by Betty Weeder,
Right.
and so that was a very generous donation, and that money has run out.
Yeah, I've always been a believer that the museum needs to stand more on its own. We already subsidize it $50,000 a year, so this is more than doubling what we provide. And if we approve this, what's to stop next year, come back and doing the same thing? So are we all of a sudden, putting $100,000 a year toward the museum? I, in good conscience, can't do that when we have other needs.
I mean, on the TOT tourism reserves, I don't know where we would want to focus that money that we're looking at for this year.
I'd sure like to have a shot at being creative and doing that. So we do need to increase our tourism. We need to think outside the box. We need to start being more aggressive in that area, and having some funds to do that when we come up with a good idea would be nice to have. But I don't think a museum draws enough from the outside world to justify spending $100,000 a year.
Well, he brings in over $80,000 in just ticket money per year, and that.
So that's my only thing is I have seen since my time here a vast improvement of membership, of community support, donations. I think they are working very well towards being self-sufficient at some point. I don't know when that's going to be, but I myself have seen quite a bit of improvement. So yeah, just for heads up.
And this feels like it's a one-time expense.
Right.
It's gonna complete a project, and we could actually just share with Martin that we're doing this
By
to help
next year,
support.
they need to find their own
Right,
funding for it.
right, and plan for it.
And I think the amount of things that he's accomplished there with very little funding has been extraordinary, and from community outreach has been also extraordinary in that museum. And so, anyway, I just feel like this little bit of support to get us over that. He's been trying for 5 years using volunteers, and it just isn't working on cataloging. You have to have someone dedicated to it.
Somebody who's consistent.
And someone who knows what they're doing too.
Questions from public? Anybody online? Thank you, Michelle. Bringing it back to council, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second. It's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Michelle?
Beho,
Nay.
Sharado,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
Roleo.
Aye.
Moving on to item G, adopt resolution 25-43, thereby authorizing the release of construction documents for bidding for City of Angels Purdy Road Water and Sewer Improvement Project. Dave, where'd he go? Oh, there he is. He was in front of me a minute ago.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, we're come before you this evening asking for approval to release for bid improvement plans, water and sewer improvement plans along Purdy Road. This is an approved capital improvement project. On the wastewater side, this is it has increased in priority compared to other projects this year because of a number of factors. We have had multiple sewer overflows along Purdy Road during the last year, and that has triggered our staff, city staff, to do further investigation of the sewers along Purdy Road. We've had CCTV investigations of those sewers. We have found that there are, in many instances, there were major blockages of the sewers in that area. We were able to resolve some of those problems with staff, but there are structural problems that need to be resolved. And those structural fixes in that are part of this project. And that's part of the reason that the project moved up in priority. There'll be a second sewer project coming your way later this month along Vallecito Road. But this one was before you tonight. On the water side of the project in that, much of the theme of the capital improvement projects on the water side are really geared to improve and increase the reliability of the city water system, be able to get more water into our system from the water treatment plant, from the single water line that comes down Murphy's Grade Road. There are, as I say, a number of projects involved or that have been identified in the capital improvement program to help rectify that problem. In this case, we are establishing the foundation for ultimately an interconnection to those improvements along Murphy's Grade Road, and it also provides a better opportunity for industrial developments along Murphy's Grade Road. So there's an extension of a water line that is included as part of this project. It also allows us to provide or have a system that meets our city standard of a fire hydrant within 500 feet of residential properties in that. We have worked closely with the homeowners, property owners out there to make sure that that the route and alignment of these improvements are consistent or are not. There are no issues with the property owners out there. We've had a great deal of cooperation with the property owners to make sure that at the end of the day that they can connect to this extended water line and improve the service out there, as well as I say, providing a fire hydrant in conformance with the city requirements. So we're asking for approval to put this project out to bid so that we can then potentially begin construction later this summer. And that's the essence of the project.
So, Scott, any questions? So a couple questions. Just like with the Mark Twain job, is it possible to do jointly with the automatic meter readers as we're tying back in?
The automatic meter readers are here.
Right, good.
And so, yes, that's a possibility. That's definitely a possibility, Mr. Mayor.
And also, help me understand, is this what we're doing on Purdy Lane going to help everything back up, or is it just this one area, or is it going to improve the flow because this is a bottleneck, or I don't know what you call it?
It will definitely improve the flow. Is it the end of the story? No.
Okay.
that story will be told at a future date and that, but it's part of an overall program of reducing the I&I and eliminating bottlenecks and that. I get as the legally responsible official that files these reports with the state, I get a little nervous when we time and time again are filing it for the same area, that at some point, someone from Sacramento is going to be knocking on my door and saying, what are you guys doing about this problem and that? And so that's why the biggest thing. But long term, again, one of the themes of the capital improvement program is reducing I&I to the plant. And this is a CCTV work that we've done, and that is planned to be done further up in that area, is really intended to pinpoint those areas that we need to fix and reduce the flow. And this is the first step in that area.
And the connection of the new water line, we're getting ready to connect once we move the new line down Murphy's Grade Road.
Yeah.
From the Rotary property. Okay.
There's a tremendous emphasis. I don't want to steal anyone's thunder in that, but there's a tremendous emphasis on improving our water supply. Well, that's half the problem. But then at that point is, well, how do you get that water back down into our system and that? And so these are, I'm sure, will be high priority projects going forward. And since we're in the area building and we're literally pointing in that direction, it makes sense to start that process by extending a water line to a point. It services new residential development there, and it sets us up for an interconnect and taking advantage of those future CIP projects.
And John, a fire hydrant would be.
That's awesome.
Would be very
anything
cool.
Over there, would be great.
Thank you. Any other comments?
No, just I'll play on the theme you've been doing. Is what is the I&I, just for everybody here, whoever's online too?
Thank you.
Okay, so infiltration and inflow is water that comes into our sewer. It's stormwater or it's groundwater that's coming into our sewer, rather than just our black water flows that come out of our house. And what happens is that you're ending up conveying and then treating basically all this extra water that in reality should be going somewhere else. It should be going into a creek, or it should be going into some type of storm drain system. But the inflow, the I&I refers to inflow, means there are water is getting in, surface water is somehow getting into the sewer. Infiltration means that water from groundwater and that is infiltrating into the sewer. And that's being caused when we have root infestation, when we have cracks in the sewer. This sewer is near a creek, so you've got a high groundwater table, and so it's very susceptible to infiltration in that. It's an older sewer, and so the idea, as I say, is that we're trying to tighten up our sewers so that we only treat at the treatment plant dirty water.
Because for those who are here, one of the projects in our CIP was to expand the capacity, especially in our stormwater. And if we could take care of the I&I problem, then maybe we don't have to expand because the water's gone where it should go. Let's hope.
It's a fair statement. It's a fair statement that the city's not going to it'd be difficult for the city to acquire any kind of funding to do anything at the treatment plant if you have not addressed I&I in your system. That's where the state people go first. That's probably as they should, right. But that's the reality.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions from council?
We just would like to have it happen.
Good.
It says I'm the farthest house in Purdyville, at the very end of the road, and the hydrant is probably 1,200 feet or 1,500 feet from me, and my meter is farther away than that.
Oh wow!
And it would just be great to get both. And I mean, it'd make it easier to get fire insurance too, because the fact that the hydrant is so far away, it's really hard to get that. So,
well, thank you.
We'd love to see it.
Well, we appreciate it.
And we need it. He needs it especially.
He does.
My water line.
Well, if it was you, I'd go no.
The reason I'm piggybacking on his project is because my water line, which goes all the way up to Kids Court, is probably over 50 years old, and it's damaged somewhere along the line.
Oh, so it's leaking.
And no, it's not leaking,
Oh.
but it's crushed so that I get 70 PSI static. As soon as I turn something on, it drops to 25.
Wow.
And so it makes it like impossible to turn two things on at the same time.
We're filling our pool off of his low water line.
Well,
Oh,
Yeah.
how generous.
You're what?
well, thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And the only thing I can say too is I've gone through 2 rounds of raising rates too, and it is good to see these projects because this is all
Amen.
part of this.
Amen.
There's some projects being taken place for the money we've collected, so
Yeah.
that's all
I
I
agree 100%. Anybody online, Michelle?
No?
I didn't mean to cut you. Any other comments? Council, is there a motion to, I'll make a motion to approve the project.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none?
Behill,
Aye.
Sharado,
I
Shemente,
Aye.
Brogan.
Aye.
Thanks, Dave, for your work on this project. Thank you. Thank you, guys. You guys want to sit through the rest of the meeting? You can't. It'd be rude to leave.
No, it's okay.
It's okay.
We're
It's
used
okay.
to
You have a
it.
family at home. All right. We're moving on to item H, adopt resolution 25-44, thereby approving the execution of task order number 23 with Dewberry Engineers and Company for a not to exceed amount of $104,000 for the construction, oversight, and engineering services during construction for Mark Twain Water Distribution System Improvement Project. Dave.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, this is a task order for inspection services, testing services, and construction oversight services for the Mark Twain Water System Improvement Project. The project actually broke ground and started on May 20th. The contractor, Neerich and Sons, is at least a month ahead of schedule.
Oh, good.
They're
Good.
working, they've been able to install all of the main line to date. The trenches have been backfilled, the backfill materials have been compacted, and they've all been tested and passed. Unfortunately, right now, we're in a little bit of a lull because of some material that has yet to arrive.
Oh, no.
And so we have to, for them to take the next step and to pressure test and flush the new lines and that, they need these appurtenances and that. And we're hoping that they arrive next week so that the contractor can come back on site and continue the work. This task order, as I say, is for our inspector, who is out there on a part-time basis. We were able to take advantage of the same inspector working on the Habitat for Humanity project.
Okay.
So we're getting, I'm not quite sure what the expression is, but we're getting the best use of that individual on both projects and that. So there's a savings all around in that respect. The fact that the contractor is ahead of schedule also suggests that we're going to finish under budget because it won't take as much time and as much inspection effort as we might anticipate. But in any event, that's just a potential impact of the contractor going early. We are negotiating a change order with the contractor because the meters, smart meters are here. And actually he would I shouldn't say he, but the contractor would actually like to do that work.
Okay.
Because it makes his job a little bit easier at the end since we're reconnecting all of the services to the new main lines. And so we're in the process of getting that worked out and negotiated so that they're able to do that. It also helps that the meter supplier is actually looking for almost a beta site to test his meters.
Oh, wow.
He'd like to test with Michelle 10
meters.
10 meters, and so we're looking at installing 20 or 21 meters as part of this, potentially as part of this project. So it's a win-win for everybody. Everybody would like the meters to go in. Now we get to test them and work out all the bugs so that later we can come back, Chris can come back with his project of installing the 1,000 meters that have been purchased there.
Currently purchased.
Well, I think aren't we going to put it out to bid to have them installed and not do it
Yes.
in-house?
Yes.
Because,
Yep.
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it all sort of falls into
Good.
place right now.
Dave, is the inspection fees a % of the contract? How does that work?
Oh, gotta give away the secrets.
Well, I'm just,
We actually look at the working days of the contractor.
okay,
It really boils down to the work. Now, in theory, I shouldn't say that word, but the contractor's dollars is a function of how much time he has to spend on the project. But we then look at his schedule and say, okay, you've got so many working days and that we're going to need somebody out there to look at, to oversee. So it's a function of the working days of the contract.
Okay.
Now, you might say, well, how come you're coming to us now with this instead of at the beginning of the project with this thing? What I have found is that coming to the agency and asking for an authorization for inspection work before we've even seen the schedule of the contractor, we end up estimating high.
okay.
And so this time we wait to see what his schedule is, and we can take, and we have frankly a pretty frank discussion with the contractor to know how much, what level of effort is occurring over what specific time, and then we can very easily or better budget the number of hours that our inspection person needs to be out there. And so that's at the end of the day, yes, it is a percentage. I mean, if you start looking at, you get something over, say, 15%, you're looking at, that's a lot of inspection time. And so that's how we back check it, but at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is just to be out there when we need to be.
And then one more question in terms of Mark Twain Elementary School. They'll start up mid-August. Are we going to be done with Stanislaus and all of that area around the school, or will they be impacted?
We should be, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
We should be.
Okay.
I mean, we have a tentative schedule from the contractor that shows tie-ins at the end of July. And with that first tie-in, one of the first tie-ins right in front of the school. It's right there in front of the cul-de-sac there. And so, but we're trying to get that done as a high priority.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions from council?
That was my question, was Mark. I just
I wanted to
start
do
school.
something.
I know, that's fine.
Any other questions from council?
I don't have any questions. I just want to say that I'm happy to hear while the ground is open, we're doing different things. So we're putting in the automated meter readers. We're thinking about going all the way to Murphy's Grade Road off of Purdy. And I know the Murphy's Grade Road project also is coming. So I just want to make sure that we are opening the ground once, putting in everything we need and not redoing. So thank you. It's nice to hear.
And it's been a big push for the council, at least since we've been together, to go automatic meter readers, free our staff up from reading meters so that they can invest their time in doing other things besides spending 3 days, 3 guys, 3 days to read meters. So you keep hearing us talk about it, but we're hoping that what it's going to do is allow us to do more public works jobs and not just read meters. So with that, any other comments from the public regarding this item? Anyone online? Michelle? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Michelle?
Behill,
Aye.
Sharada,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
Brolio.
Hi.
Moving on to item I, municipal service agreement between County of Calaveras and City of Angels. Staff recommends that City Council to, 1, discuss, thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. Discuss, consider, and approve the municipal service agreement between the County of Calaveras. Thank you, Eric.
Yes. Hi, Eric.
City of Angels for Angels Police Dispatch Services from fiscal year 25-26 through 27-28, and adopt resolution number 2545, memorializing the approval of the above-mentioned MSA and the corresponding budget allocation for the fiscal years noted above, and authorizing the city administrator and the city attorney to work with county sheriff's office staff with county Sheriff's Office Legal Counsel to approve minor changes as proposed by the city attorney and for the city administrator to execute the MSA. Ms. Pam.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to note that the city's attorney's proposed changes that are shown on track changes and published online they're recommended changes, they're not mandatory. So should the suggested changes cause a delay in the execution of the MSA by both parties, the city attorney provided consent and advisement to staff to not include the suggested changes. We believe that it's not a deal breaker, but what would happen is that should they not accept it, just take out the track changes, and that is what you're approving tonight. This is a normal 3-year contract that we have done with the Calaveras County Sheriff's Dispatch Department. And the contract amount is based on an inflator using the Consumer Price Index, all urban consumers. This is already in our budget. And we've already budgeted for about $209,811. And this is already included in our budget. The last contract period was from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th of 2025. So it is essential for us to continue with the contract so that we can continue having dispatch services.
Scott, do you have any? Scott's still back there, right?
Right here.
Oh, there you are.
Just rotating people through the seat.
No, the only thing I might add, and correct me if I'm wrong, it looked like the number that was provided in the contract was well under what was projected by Michelle. So there's going to be a savings there of maybe up to $19,000 this first year at least. So that's a benefit as well. And it's other than that, it's the same contract that we've had. We're happy with the services that are being provided by the sheriff's office, and it's beneficial to the department and the safety of the officers out there because we share a radio network with the sheriff's department. So we hear what they're doing, they hear what we're doing, and they're able to assist us more quickly if there's a need.
See, that's what makes sense. The mutual aid type things, you know, because everyone knows what everyone else is doing. So we did that in-house years ago?
Years ago. I don't know how long exactly. I mean, I've been here for 7 years, and we've had it since then, and I would say at least 5 years prior to that or so, they probably had it. When I worked here in 2020, we didn't have it other than nighttime hours. I think they contacted
I was gonna say, we just
5
did
p.m.
working days and nighttime and weekends, I remember would be the sheriff's department.
We were
So
8 to
it was-
5, Monday
yeah.
through Friday. We had our own dispatch service, and then after hours, we would go with the sheriff's office. And I think at that time, they were just doing it as a, we'll help you guys, you know, as needed. And then at some point along the line, they decided to get rid of the dispatch at the department and go full-time with the sheriff's office, which to me works out great.
Which makes sense. Any other questions from council? No. Hearing none, anyone from the public? Anyone online, Michelle?
No.
Okay, I'll bring it back. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Any other discussion? Thank you, Scott. Hearing none, Michelle?
Behill,
Aye.
Sharada,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
and Broleo.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 10, informational items.
Hold on for just a minute, Mr. Mayor. You go ahead and I'd like to report a couple of things that we're doing. Staff has been hard at work with the city's financial management system migration from Springbrook to AccuFund. Was completed, not only will there be system and process efficiencies and improvements, but our annual financial management system costs will be substantially lower, right, Michelle?
Correct.
Yeah, at this time, staff and our consultant are working together with the payroll and utility billing modules to our finance director, Michelle, the finance team, and AccuFund consultant, Jeff Durante. I hope you're hearing us right now. Many thanks to your diligence and hard work in ensuring that the system migration is a success. And speaking of which, regarding the ongoing financial migration system, staff has sent out a letter to all our utility customers late last week, and pretty much outlining what to expect starting today, which means that our current utility billing system, our online payment portal, and pay-by-phone services will be temporarily unavailable. The auto payments previously set will not process under the old system. Staff will not be able to access account balances, process payments, set up new accounts, or make changes to existing accounts during the transition period. And with that, we understand that this is very inconvenient, And we sincerely extend our apologies and thank everybody for the patience that they're giving us. And then to help ease the transition, no late fees will be assessed during the month of July. Once the new system is live, expect online and phone payments to resume for customers to be able to view account balances and set up auto pay in the new portal. So just note that your current account number will change and you will be assigned a new number. Then staff will begin reaching out to those who previously had automatic payments to help them re-enroll in the new system. And then we anticipate issuing monthly utility bills on the regular schedule, but there may be minor delays during the first month of implementation. So this transition period is expected by staff right now to last for approximately 30 days.
So we have to mail our payment in.
You can mail it in.
I'm gonna write that down.
We're waiting for our card reader to come in.
Okay.
And we hope to get it within a week, and we would be able to start taking payments then. But
Is that why I wasn't able to make a payment this month? Because my card expired and I tried to change the card and it wouldn't let me input a new card in the system.
Because they're switching to the new.
Because they're switching.
And that's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
so when you log on to Civic Pay, that's the link on our website. There's now a big message saying.
There wasn't when I tried. So.
It went down this morning, Civic Pay.
Okay.
So
right.
and we put the message up there, and we have it also posted at the post offices notice and on the door, along with our notification of the letters that went out, and we'll add it to our website.
So don't just put your bill unopened in the drawer like I do, because it's on auto pay. I need to actually open that one. Yeah.
And we will be reaching out for everyone who's on auto pay. We have a new staff member that will be beginning next week. And that was that extra hire that we spoke about. And they will be reaching out to everyone to get them enrolled in the system.
Because I even know this and I still fling that thing. I don't know. Anyway, so I'll do that.
Yeah, mine doesn't go into a drawer.
It goes into the file of water.
And the letter is separate from the bill, so people won't see it as a bill, it just filed.
Gotcha.
It's a separate letter mailing.
So Pam and Michelle, and where are we with looking at reconciling the commercial folks?
So that project is completed, so
Okay.
now we will start doing outreach to
Okay.
all of them. But Andrea has finished the analysis of
Okay.
that. And those will be part of the rates that we're loading into the new system. The new system will have all of the new rates per the rate study and our recommendation. Was that at the last meeting, I
Yes.
believe, from council for the increase, and then all of the volumetric for commercial accounts.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. So
And then,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
the City of Angels, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, has a new employee.
Yes.
So Andrew Nuss is undergoing police academy starting yesterday. So for our soon-to-be police officer, Andrew Nuss, welcome aboard.
Yes.
We're excited.
He'll be done in October.
And
Thank you. Anything else?
That is it.
Moving on to item 11, administration report. Or is that the same thing?
That is the same thing.
Okay. Moving on to council reports. Scott?
No report.
Caroline?
I attended the Utica board meeting last Tuesday. Quick note that Joel Metzger, our general manager, has resigned. He has accepted a position as Deputy Director of Statewide Water Resources Planning and Enterprise Project Management with the Department of Water Resources for the state of California. So congratulations to Joel, and I wanted to just thank him for his years of service with us and all the accomplishments that he's done. One of them that we approved at that meeting is the finalize and submit the final Federal Energy Regulatory Commission conduit exemption and license surrender application for Utica and Angels projects. And so this has been a long time coming. It's been 3 years in the works. It's been a lot of, there's been a lot of consultants involved, a lot of reports written, and his last day is July 13th. So as he's going out the door, he's going to be pressing send to FERC and sending this exemption. What that exemption means is saving our communities of Murphy's and Angels Camp around $10 million on a relicensing of our 2 hydro plants. And so coming out from under federal oversight will be still overseen by the state, so there's still some things there that we're going to have to do, but it's going to save our community quite a bit of money, and keeping those 2 hydro online helps reduce our Utica fees that you see on the conveyance and our bills.
Why don't you talk a little bit about the amount of money we'll see up front that we have been contributing to this contribution or this process?
Yeah, we've been putting in $400,000 from each agency, and hopefully with this approval, it's going to take between 18 months. They won't even look at it, probably between 18 months and then 2 years for us to maybe get a decision on that. Hopefully it'll be sooner than that, but it's the federal government, so I don't really have a lot of hope on that. But we're going to be reading this on. So that was a big deal, and I think the other one was just working with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, because we're coming out from under FERC overview. We have to have an agreement, an MOU with the Department of Fish and Wildlife on how we're going to still be taking care of the watershed. And so this is new, and so we're setting the precedents in the state of California. So a lot of eyes are on us on how we're negotiating this and how what this MOU looks like. And I think we did a really good job in negotiating what we felt like we could afford as a small community. They worked with us on that. So I think we came out of that in a pretty good spot. So I think that's really the 2 big ones. I mean, we approved our budget, no big things there. So, but it was a big meeting. So we also hired Dave Andrus as our interim GM for the hiring of he's going to help us with the process of hiring a new GM, and just once that FERC application goes in, any questions that come out, he's going to be able to handle that along the way, because there's a lot of balls in the air right now. So anyway, any questions from them?
Alvin?
None at the moment. I'll do it in future agenda items. We're good.
Okay.
And then you and I went to the ribbon cutting.
Yes.
Of 4 Paws. I forgot about
4 Paws, and then the ribbon cutting for JJ's Vintage.
I missed that one. Yeah.
Mercantile and consignment. She has like over 30 people consigned. So it's
That's great.
not just one business. There's like 30 businesses incorporated in one room. And Lexi's eyelashes.
Yeah, she has eyelashes.
Yeah.
For all you
so-
guys out there.
And then one of the things that, just to get clarification, and I'm glad council is present, I asked Pam to kind of give us a weekly update of what she's doing, just like a calendar and some key things. And I think it was interpreted to get a weekly report from our departments. Once a month from the departments is fine, the second meeting. And the council still agrees with just like a calendar of where she's been and that, so that we just have an idea of what we're doing. But again, move away from, having departments report on a weekly basis, because a month is fine. As long, I think so.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm good.
And thanks you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for that, and thanks for allowing us to make that clarification. Any other correspondence, or any correspondence?
Very nice, sir.
Okay, calendar,
Well, in front of you is the July calendar.
shorties tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll try to make that.
We have the ribbon cutting tomorrow. Of course, the farmer's market is up and running every Friday night.
And it is open for 4th of July.
It is.
Yeah, they have a whole
They have a whole thing going on.
thing going on. Watermelon eating contest. I signed up Mike Shimeni.
Fireworks show in the creek.
Yep.
Yeah. So
You guys can watch.
I think, Michelle, the business mixer for Prospect 772 was this month.
Oh, was it?
I think so,
Okay.
because it was one of my,
No, it's July.
No, it's
This is
coming
right.
up.
It's coming up.
no, I thought it was, okay, it's coming up.
We can verify that.
No, it's fine. I
And
thought there was one.
Amy, do you want to talk about the planning commission meeting?
Our Planning Commission meeting of July 10th is going to be continued until August 14th.
Okay.
So we will be considering the sign ordinance at that.
Okay, great. And COG does not meet in July. Just make sure we do that.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
I would have showed up.
You'd be the only one that.
I'd have got some stuff done.
Let me in, yeah.
Okay, anything else on calendar? Moving on to future agenda items.
Future agenda items, I don't have anything in particular. I just had Mr. Saul contact me this morning. I told him to come speak. I didn't have enough time for this morning to be here. You're all good, Sam. Just a heads up, he lives at 1054 Mark Twain Road. Him and some other community members, I think, are going to come speak, but there's been a lot of speeding going through there as of lately. So just a concerned citizen that there's a lot of traffic speeding through that area. So I told him to reach out and come speak and get as many people as you can to come. So just wanted to make everybody aware that there's that going on.
Is there a form online that they can also fill out for that, something like that?
I think there's a form, I don't know, something like that. I know you can under public comment, right? You can write and it can be read by the clerk, I think, but I don't know if there's a form just for Scott.
There used to be online, there was a way for
to report that.
Public complaints or concerns or something like that, and then City Hall would receive those and then they forward them to the appropriate department.
Okay, I'll poke around in there and see what I can find. I just told him the easiest thing is just to come down here and get more people to come and get whoever you can around the neighborhood to come down and say something in public comment, and then everybody knows about it. So, and they can do that too. I'll look online. So.
And they actually have that stop sign too. I mean, it's interesting.
I think it's down by, where would I say?
Pass Race?
Down by Wayne. Yeah, it's down by Wayne Cowan's.
Oh, around there.
Yeah.
Around there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where Fenton Bolton used to live,
Yeah.
and Wayne's. It's right in that little
It's there.
stretch right there.
Okay.
I think.
Any other items, Scott? Caroline? I just am curious when we're going to have the recommendations from the Planning Commission regarding signs and banners, et cetera.
We held that meeting in June, and I'm taking their recommendations and putting it in ordinance form to be heard at the August 14th meeting.
August 14th, thank you. Thank you. Does the public have any agenda items for future meetings that you'd like us to consider?
No, I did have one question regarding the water that I screwed up and never asked Dave. We deal with sprinkler systems.
Go to the podium.
Do I have to go to the podium?
You do.
Yeah.
Heck yes.
So right up
Have to hit the button?
Yes.
Sure, there you go.
We're dealing with fire sprinklers now, and sometimes we have a hard time. Angels Camp has a lot of pressure, so that's good. But Mr. Darby had me run an 1.5 inch water line because of the length of our water line to make sure we have volume to supply the sprinklers. You have these automatic meters coming in. I assume they're all 5/8.
No.
No, there's different sizes.
Are they, well, anytime you upgrade from a 5/8, it costs you more per gallon.
Right. Right.
Which is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of an issue for the fact that if you just need volume, the 3/4 would be better. But if you're not using any more water, why do you gotta pay more per gallon?
Right.
You know, so I didn't know I assume 5/8 will work for us, but it's just something in construction that we always deal with. And it seems that paying for the increase of a 3/4 inch meter initial cost makes sense, but long-term, every gallon costing you more doesn't make much sense.
Because that water would only be used in case of a fire. That increase.
Right, or, yeah. So when you're dealing with sprinklers, you're dealing with volume. So I don't know if the city would ever consider hooking up larger meters for the homeowner that incurred that cost of that
The
larger
volume.
meter, but not the larger volume. Because I looked into it when I built my house back in the 90s. And it was, yeah, you're gonna, no problem, it was only gonna be a couple $100, but it was gonna be, for the rest of my life, I was gonna pay a higher water rate than the neighbor. That didn't make much sense, so.
Is it the same when you build within the county? If you're building in,
You know, every water district's gonna be
Different.
different. I haven't built in the county in so long, I don't know.
okay.
I understand that some of them are supplying a 1-inch meter because of that. So, because of the fire sprinkler issue, you know, 5/8 gives you all the water you need until you have to meet the certain volume
Release it.
for your sprinklers on your residence. It's something to kick around, I don't know.
Yeah, and if you don't have enough water, then you gotta put in a big old tank
Tank,
inside
yeah.
the house
Yeah.
in a heated area and
Yeah.
keep it pressurized.
For sprinklers?
Yeah, for sprinklers, it's just a nightmare.
Wow.
I mean, Scott's dealing with a abnormal situation, and we're hoping this water system that they're planning goes through soon, so Justin doesn't have to
Deal with it.
drink all the water hose that he's now working or building. So I don't know what the
He's
ideal
young.
last day of the timeframe of the Purdy Road water extension is, but we're gonna be done in October, and we're gonna be living off a hose bill, I guess.
I'm thinking he's gonna let the contract, so.
It's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
You'll be done. You'll be done.
Okay, good.
Thanks,
That
Al.
was it.
Thank you.
What size meters are you putting in?
But you know, I think that's a question for Chris. I mean, I just assume automatic meter readers.
I think
I thought
most
it was
residential
only
are
do-
5/8.
Oh, yeah, they're only domestic. I don't know what's gonna happen with, we've never talked about that.
I think-
I assumed it was just domestic.
No, I think all of them. Commercial, I think every
Yeah,
meter,
everyone-
every
everyone's
meter
getting switched over.
will be an automatic,
It's every meter.
every
Yeah,
meter.
and so-
So whether
So
you're
they're
inch
gonna
and a half,
upsize.
2
Yeah.
inch.
Okay,
Yeah.
So I think 6 inch, I think 6 inches the green, or the
that makes sense.
big orange, yeah. So,
That makes sense.
Yep.
We're gonna do them all.
Yeah.
But I think if we could ask Chris that question, but if it has to do with flow and Michael's sitting over there, I mean, I don't know.
we'll have to look at it.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that.
Well, for fire sprinklers, typically they design to the size of your meter. So it would be 5/8 meter is what we designed Hal's house, the new house for, the 5/8 meter.
Okay.
But it's the footage that you're running from the meter to the house.
Oh,
In subdivisions, there's not,
oh,
I mean, we're running hundreds of feet.
Yeah,
Right.
For Scotty's even
on
more hundreds.
425, just to
Okay.
get to the, connected to his.
oh,
his-
okay, so that's what that is.
Yeah, yeah, so you lose it.
You lose it.
Line
I see.
loss. Yeah.
So I mean, so we, I guess, not gladly, but we paid for 1.5
Right.
PVC private line to get to where the meter is, to make sure we have enough flow.
Yeah, that's another, I know we are, but it could be a future.
He goes down the rabbit hole real quick.
Yeah, we need to,
Yeah.
it's
Well, I
a
mean,
future
it's-
agenda
It
item.
could be a future agenda
Okay.
item.
Yes.
That's why we're talking.
I'm retired, so it doesn't matter too much, it's just something
That's a
like,
future agenda item.
Well, I think it's something that we could explore,
Okay, we'll do.
I think if
or just a report.
anything that we can do to see what kind of regulations and things that
Right.
we can pair off to make housing more affordable.
Right.
Easier to do. We want to, we talk about bringing water to new development areas. Well, who's going to develop with the fees we have in place now?
Right.
So the permit fees, the mitigation fees, all that stuff we got to look at and
Well, I
help
think that,
people
so
build.
there was this the mitigation studies happening?
RFPs are going.
RFPs are going out, okay.
All right, thank you.
I had a general question that is kind of on the whole water issue.
You gotta go out to
You have to
the.
go.
Al, you gotta
Rite of passage.
hit the button.
This is part of public comment.
I know.
Good.
This is the first I've heard that you're gonna tie water into something up on Murphy's Grade Road. That means you're gonna have to run across my property to get there, I assume. And I'd really like to see something on that before it happens.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah.
Yeah. that's-
I'm not sure if that's the direction that they're
I
gonna
don't know
head.
either without looking at it. Swing by the city.
It's up there,
I understand.
but they may not come across my land.
They also have towards PG&E, so I don't know what the,
Swing by the city and you can probably put you in contact with Dave.
Yeah, Dave or Chris or Flynn.
Well, I assume that if you're gonna do something there, you're gonna notify the homeowners.
Make sure that Pam or Michelle has your contact information. We can get that question answered for you.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, we are not going to adjourn. We're going to go back into closed session. I thank everyone who was present. We'll let this young man over here take a few moments to clean up. And thank you guys for coming and staying.
We had to be courteous so we could talk.